order to help mobilize it better so you don't get decreased range of motion or pain. If I win, grant, I'll show you what this looks like on ultrasound. But basically, you have a nerve, and these are your muscles and fascia and all that. And when you move the arm, you're going to see the nerve goes through its mechanical interface. And so that's what you're doing when you do all these little weird arm motions that we're going to do. That nerve is supposed to be gliding within. So it is quite cool when you get to see it on an image that you're actually doing that while moving the arm in certain directions. The best way of remembering these positions is not to just think about the shoulder. Oh, he's going to be elevating and supinating and externally rotating. You'll drive yourself crazy. Just think about where the nerve goes, and that's the position you need to elongate it. So the median nerve, we know it comes down here and goes down the front of our arm. I need to get the front of my arm the most stretched it can be, which is down here. Ulnar nerve goes this way, so I need to be able to flex and pronate and extend to stretch or elongate that area. Radial nerve goes down the back, so I need to be able to stretch it and extend it back to elongate it. That's to tension it. When you check out a joint, you assess it in neutral, you assess it at the end range. When we do neurodynamics, we assess with a tensioner, and then you can treat it with different types of tensioners and different types of gliding or flossing. But for the sake of what we're doing now, we're just going to teach you a basic, very common slider, glider, flossing. They all mean the same thing, to get 3 different nerves to move. What 3 nerves do we want to move? Okay, so, well, other thing, sorry, caveat, even though we're not going too in depth with this, one, you never hold a tensioner, you never keep a nerve stretched under tension. When you do this, speed is and position is extremely important. I have no idea what her nerve is like. So maybe she's healthy, great, and I can go as far as I need to go, but I don't know that. You're gonna find out that some of you are gonna have restricted nerves, and if you blow through it, you are going to hurt your friend. We don't like to hurt our friends. Teachers get upset when we hurt our friends. So all these have to be slow and controlled, and listen with your ears and your hands on certain areas, and make sure they're not guarded, and make sure you're not pushing through any pain. What you are feeling with your hands for as able. First is position. This is called a pistol position. Pew pew. So I have my fingers holding her hand. This hand is here so that my finger, my index finger, can extend her thumb, and this can extend her fingers, and I have control now of her wrist. This hand is going to not depress her scapula, but it's going to be on top of her scapula to prevent her from hiking. And then it's also feeling, what's under my hand right here? Trap is towards the back. What's right under my palm?
Scap.
Got some scalenes, what important structure goes through the scalene? Brachial plexus. So if I'm tensioning nerves, I want to feel some muscles or the nerve itself jump under my, I don't want to feel it jump, but if I feel it jump, I want to make sure to stop. So that's what this hand is feeling for. So I'm not compressing, I'm just feeling. I'm in a position where this arm can go wherever I want it to go. So that's good. So for the median nerve, you get median, ulnar, radial. You get all 3 with this position, but you bias more the median nerve. So that's why we call this upper limb tension test A. 1, median nerve bias, take your pick. So this is, we'll say, is for median nerve. Then we'll show you ulnar and radial. With median nerve, if you guys just want to remember the list, 90 to 110 degrees of shoulder elevation. You want to aim more towards 110 because as you guys learn this, when you're doing your techniques, this is what's gradually is going to happen. That's a #1 student pitfall. So if you start higher, you eliminate that problem. Then, so we're just feeling here. We abduct to about 100 or so degrees. We have positioned in our arm. Now she's stable on the table and my leg. I can now externally rotate. I can now extend the wrist. I don't feel any jumping under my hand. Relax. That's her muscles, not her nerve. And at this point, I now only have one joint left. She's supinated, she's externally rotated, she's extended all the way through her fingers and wrist. The only joint left to stretch out the median nerve is the elbow. I pick that last for this test because it's the largest joint. It's the easiest to check asymmetries. And so then all we do is just slowly extend. Any pain?
Okay.
Okay. Is it pain or stretch?
No, it's just a stretch.
Okay. So that doesn't mean the dura is not restricted. This is where you stop. So this is where I felt a little pulse under my hands. She didn't get to fully to 0, but she got pretty close. I would check bilateral, but this is nothing I'm too concerned about. Whereas let's say she gets here, and then on her left arm where she's having symptom complaints, she gets to here. That's a big difference. So we're looking for a 10-degree difference between the two arms.
You stop based on you feeling it popping out, or because she can't move anymore?
Both.
Okay.
So it could be either or. The first one, she was just guarded down here. Asked if she had pain. She was just guarded because she was able to go further once she relaxed. Even though she didn't complain of pain, once I felt that little sensation under my hand, which was close to end range, that's where I stopped. That is a tensioner. All I care about is the asymmetry, reproduction of symptoms. If we wanted to glide, you have to get into the tension position first. So you see how I always do it slowly, even though I know she was able to get down there. Okay, so I would say she stops right there because that's where I feel it under my hand. I'm going to bend the elbow. Now I'm shortening it over a joint. Now I want to straighten the elbow, so I need to pick another joint. Let's pick the wrist. Now the wrist is flexed. Everything else is still extended. Now the wrist is flexed. So I take slack off of one joint, put it on the other. A few seconds go by. 1, 2, 3. Change. Extend. Flex the wrist. Flex the elbow. Extend the wrist. So that the nerve is going like that.
Is that an intervention for what you found in the tensioner?
If she had a problem, yes, that would be the slider / flossing. That would be your intervention for the basis of what we're doing right now.
Does it matter which one you slack on?
There is a whole book that you can answer that question with, but for now, no, it doesn't matter. We're going to do this, and that's it. Sound good? We'll answer that again in 2 years. But for now, pick 2 joints, preferably elbow and wrist are the easiest to work with. That's median. I'm going to skip median 2. Median 2 is just down here. It's if you have problems getting up here, but you commonly don't do that one. So next we're going to do ulnar. With ulnar, sorry, how about relax. Okay, hands in the same spot. Good. So ulnar nerve, how do we tension this? So I'm going to be in a position where at the end, I want to be able to just shift my weight into shoulder abduction. So you know how with the median I picked the elbow? Now I'm picking the shoulder as my last joint to tense. So I'm going to just keep my hand here to be stable, extend the wrist. Instead of supination, I'm going to pronate. I'm going to flex now. All this I'm feeling. And then last, good. Bring your head a little bit to the side.
And you're still feeling, that's the whole, your right hand, you're just feeling.
Yep,
over.
just feeling, and that's it. I don't feel anything, but how do you feel?
Just a stretch.
Okay, and that's it for that. You can rotate a little bit more. If I get her off the table, I can do it a little better. So if I wanted to change something here, I can do elbow and wrist, or I can do shoulder and elbow. Shoulder So just pick 2 joints. Easy one to do there would be shoulder and elbow.
Wouldn't she laterally
My arm
flex
feels
her
like a
head?
piece of
Wouldn't that
spaghetti.
also put some tension on it?
It would. She didn't complain of any symptoms though,
Okay.
but yes, it would.
It would probably come before that.
If she had a problem,
Okay.
yes. Radial, same position but turn around. You all right?
Yeah.
Can't make it?
Yep.
Okay. Scoot all the way over. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Good. Now in this position, I want you to lay on a little bit of an angle. Thank you.
Am I not on an
Nah,
angle?
bring your butt a little bit to your right. Oh, too much. That wasn't even your butt, that was your feet.
I don't know. Just my butt.
Yeah, just your butt. All right. So, with this one,
Did I just shit?
bring your butt a little bit more. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. So with this one, my leg is gonna not depress, but stabilize her scapula, just like my hand was doing before. Okay, so we apply just a little pressure there. With this, we're going to flex everything, straighten everything. Bring your head straight towards me. There you go. Relax. And we're gonna bring it down. And if you need to tension it more, you could bring it out. I don't feel anything with her, but that's how you would tension the radial nerve. So
Joint in your thigh.
if you can, otherwise you have to go with them tensing up or their subjective complaint. And so then if we're in this position and we're down here and she has a restriction, I can do elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist, all while maintaining my neutral back and my pressure through, not like big pressure, but just my stabilization through my thigh. Radial. Questions?
Is there a reason why she's diagonal?
Yeah, so go straight again. Can't get my thigh against her shoulder now.
Was there a stabilization hand for the ulnar?
For the ulna,
Did you have your hand?
I had my hand under her scap,
Okay.
and I was doing the motion through the table through my other hand, through shoulder and elbow. Other fundamental concepts. Small joint, you can move through a large motion. Large joint, the nerve glides along a larger amount through a small motion. So you'll see when I'm working on her wrist and elbow, I move the elbow only a little bit, big joint. We move the wrist a lot, small joint. So anytime you have a big joint, you only have to move it a little. Anytime it's a small joint, you could typically move it more. You do your sliders out of their pain provocation. So that's why I tension, that's where it hurts, great. Back out of it, do my sliders, okay? 30 seconds or a set goes by, and then I reassess. I usually hold it at the end for 2 to 3 seconds in each position. Ready to practice?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.